Good morning and good afternoon to all our attendees. Thank you for joining today's Family Office Network's webinar series featuring Idaho Champion Gold. Joining us today is Jonathan Buick, President and CEO. Jonathan brings over 18 years of business, management, and financing experience and has been involved in mergers and acquisitions, restructuring, equity research, and corporate finance. Jonathan has been involved as an advisor to companies in the resource sector. Their focus has been on base metals, coal, and oil and gas. In his role as advisor, he has been successful in representing clients in the negotiation of joint ventures, strategic partnerships, project finance, and direct investments through his extensive set of relationships with Korean corporations and financial institutions. Jonathan is also the founder and managing director at a Toronto-based strategic advisory firm that supports private and publicly traded companies to achieve fair market value and strengthened brand recognition in the global financial markets. At the end of today's presentation, we will have time for Q&A, and we really encourage your questions. Please use your questions chat option to submit all questions so we can answer them accordingly. Jonathan, I'm going to let you take it from here.
Thank you, Lindsay. Thank you for the kind words and the introduction. Thank you to everybody who's joining us today. I appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to learn about Idaho Champion and why we're excited about us as our company and us as an investment opportunity. And I look forward to sharing the message and telling you a little bit about ourselves, but also the company in the next little bit of time here. Forward-looking statements. I'm sure everybody has seen these many times, so I'm not going to go through these. I do suggest on your own time, if you did want to go through the forward-looking statements, we do have presentation on the website as well, which is idahochamp.com. Today, I'm going to speak about one of our projects called the Champagne Project. I'll go into detail on that. I'm also going to talk about the management team, the state of Idaho as a place to do business in the mining and exploration business, and a little bit more about some of our other projects as well. Idaho, obviously in the Pacific Northwest, it is now ranked 9th in the world by the Fraser Institute, which does a yearly review of jurisdictions in terms of places to operate mining and exploration opportunities. We have the Champagne Project highlighted here. It's a very supportive state. I think it's the best place in North America to operate. Very supportive governor. During COVID, when COVID first hit, everybody in our industry, depending on where they were told tools down, go home. Zoom from your dining room or do whatever you do remote. The governor of Idaho deemed mining and exploration essential. So while a lot of our colleagues were tools down, we had the advantage and benefit of being able to stay busy in the field, and we were busy. We made several acquisitions last year. We drilled 2 of our projects. We're currently drilling at Champagne right now. So we think it was a tremendous advantage and forward-looking approach by the governor, and continue to have their support. As a management team, I think it's important to have skin in the game. As a management team, we own about 30% of the company. I'm the second largest shareholder after the chairman. We just closed a financing recently, which I participated again. I'm a buyer of stock, not a seller of stock. We are publicly traded. We trade in Canada under the symbol ITKO, I for Idaho, TKO for Technical Knockout, Idaho Champion. In the US, our ticker is GLDRF, and we trade both actively in Canada and the US. It's important for me to be available to our shareholders and investors. You'll see in the end of the presentation, my email, my cell number. We're not here for a 10% return. We're here for 10 times our money, and we believe that's possible. When I was raising the money, we raised the money at 15 cents with a warrant at 25. And I had a couple of investors say, well, why Idaho Champion? Why should I invest? And I said, well, I'm a risk investor. Find me another company that has a sub $10 million market cap, $3 million in the bank, and an 8,000 meter or 24,000 foot drill program underway. We believe wealth is inevitable for our company because of the geologic opportunity of our projects, but also because of the capability of our team. So in terms of Idaho, I've mentioned the 9th best ranking in the world for mining and exploration. Good infrastructure, power, communities very supportive. Also technical people. The ability to rely on technical people and bring them in is important. We've also seen over $220 million raised for companies in Idaho in the last 18 months. So we continue to see funding come into the state, companies like ours, but also our peers. So we're excited about the opportunity of Idaho Champion within what we think is a great place to be. We're going to turn our attention now to our non-core assets. So we have our project over in Idaho County near Elk City called the Banner Gold property. That's a property where we drilled in 2018. We made a discovery there. We have a gold structure there about 1.5 miles north-south by 0.5 mile east-west. We will continue to move that project forward. But as you'll see as I go through the various slides in the next couple of minutes about why Champagne is our priority, why we're spending our money there. We also have 4 cobalt properties in Idaho. Idaho, we believe, will be the next producing cobalt mine in North America, will be in Idaho. Why would a gold company have cobalt? I picked that up because of my historic relationships with the Korean groups. Koreans are actively looking for cobalt as a part of their battery enterprise. We've seen the Korean groups come and make major investments in different parts of the U.S. in Michigan, Alabama, and Georgia. They've now built battery plants. They're looking for domestic feed. We believe Idaho is going to be a part of that solution. We picked up those cobalt properties in 2017, 2018, with the belief that there's an opportunity to monetize that for the benefit of our shareholders. We're not spending significant money on that ground, but we are right in the fairway. We sit 0.5 mile north of what will be the next producing mine, owned by Gervais, which is an Australian group, and then right adjacent to what was originally called US Cobalt, now called First Cobalt, another past producing cobalt mine. So those are assets that we think could be strategic for us, and at the right time, we'll make a decision on how we monetize that for the benefit of our shareholders. Now, a little bit about our team. As I said, we own about 30% of the company. Our head office is in Toronto. We also have an office in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. Our technical team is based out of Arco, Idaho, which is in southeast Idaho. We've got my chairman, myself, Paul Fornazzari, all Toronto-based. Greg Schifrin and Patrick Highsmith are both American. Greg's based in Sandpoint, Idaho, and Patrick is based in Denver. Both geologists, both understand the capital markets, both have been instrumental in advancing our relationships in the community and important roles to play. Patrick formerly worked with Newmont and as well Rio. So he has big company experience. While with Newmont, he was responsible for investing into small companies such as ours. So he understands what big gold companies are looking for in terms of making in those types of investments or takeovers. So I've tasked Patrick with managing our data in terms of how we position and present the information in those conversations. This year, we announced 2 new technical advisors, Rich Lavelle and Craig Bowe. Both Rich and Craig bring tremendous industry experience. Craig Bowe has made 4 discoveries globally. He's sitting on the rig right now, so not only coming out as a technical advisor, he's actually in the field with our team. Rich Lavelle, former VP Global for Freeport. And so he and his team were responsible for 54 billion pounds of copper being discovered and delineated and now into mines. So having somebody of the caliber of Rich and Craig join our team spoke to the merits of our properties. For a little company like ours to attract somebody of that pedigree certainly spoke volumes, and we're excited to have them be a part of our team. Our chief geologist is Rob Kell. He's based out of Oregon and Arco. He's made numerous discoveries globally. He believes that at Champagne, we're sitting in a copper porphyry as a part of a collapsed caldera. I'll go into some technical, but I'm going to give a first introduction, so I won't get into too much technical information. But we certainly think we have the team to deliver at the project level and at the corporate level. Here's a map of Idaho again, showing all the different operations in Idaho. It's been a continuous mining jurisdiction since the 1860s. Idaho is not as well known as Nevada. Everybody thinks of Nevada as the epicenter of gold and mining. What I will tell you is that Idaho sits just directly north of Nevada. That's a man-made border. That geology does not stop at that border. If you can see my mouse, I'm showing where Champagne is. You can also see where Banner is, and then where our cobalt properties are. So we have, those are the 3 distinct property areas. This is a Champagne that I'm going to dive into, is a past producing open pit heap leach. Bema Gold produced here from 1989 through 92. They produced on average about 25,000 ounces of gold a year for those 3 years. They then moved their operations down. They shut the mine and moved their operations down south into Central America and South America. We picked this property up ourselves in 2017, 2018. We then consolidated the camp. We've increased our property now to 10 square miles or 26 square kilometers. We've got a number of historic mines and artisanal pits across the property. We did an IP program, which is induced polarization. So that's where you run electric lines into the and charge that current into the ground, and then you get a response back through the IP program. So you every 200 meters or 600 feet, you're putting metal rods into the ground. You put a current in, and then you get a response back. IP had never been done. We did an IP program last year. But what we realized that there's a massive target at depth to the south and west of where the historic mine was. And so that is our target in our program right now, is to drill that. And so we're drilling right now. We're now on hole 7 of that program. Here you can see the old open pit on the left side of the screen. You can also see the Moran Tunnel. This is a tunnel that sits southwest of the old historic mine. And there's a number of veins in there that are part of our target program. So we believe not only do we think there's going to be an opportunity for a porphyry discovery, but also a very high grade enriched vein system, which will certainly help the economics. Within the property outline on the right-hand side, you can see all the green is our land. That's BLM, so that's federal land. We also have patented ground, so private ground, which is important for us, allows for quick access and not as many permits involved in that process. And then on the left side, which looks like a couple of pieces of Tetris, for those old enough to remember the game Tetris, those are private lands that we've just done a lease option to purchase with a local rancher. It's a family that's 5 generations in. They've been really important for us in the community, and we think there's an opportunity to continue to add private ground. Again, private ground and patented ground, best ground you can have in the US. On this slide, you can see our property package. You can see the IP that was shot. So all those colors mean different things in terms of the response and resistivity and chargeability. And so where we see the black outline and the shaded black, that was the open pit that was in production with Bema Gold. You can see that we've done lines and also soils and geochem across where the IP lines were shot. This is a massive target. So that sits, it sits now, and we've even increased to the north. We've shot more IP this spring. We're now sitting on about 2 miles north-south of target area by 3/4 of a mile east-west. So that's a massive target area. We are drilling currently. We've drilled along line 4 and line 5. We've now come down to line 3 and line 2. The goal of this program is to intercept economic ore. This is early days for this phase of exploration, but we do have the ability to ramp quickly. We drilled last year only on the patented area. We now have the permit for the larger 10 square miles, so we're moving the drill around the bigger property area. We now move to a graph or a cartoon of what that IP looks like for those. This is a cross section. So this is as if we've carved into the earth, and now we're now looking out into the project area. What's labeled as Mine Hill was the project area where the operations were when Bema was in production. This was where they had that open pit that you saw in the photo. You can also see the Moran Tunnel here in pink. So that was the tunnel that was put in late 1890s through 1910, where they went in and they mined zinc, copper, gold, high-grade silver. And there is an opportunity for us that we believe happens at depth. The blue lines that you see across here are faults. So what happened is in many millennia ago, you saw a shift where this is called the collapse area with a shift where at surface the deposit at surface, the oxide deposit was moved to the north and to the east. It was detached. This was a detachment fault. We was shooting the IP. We now believe we've found the feeder system that supplied the oxide mine that Bema had in production. Gold doesn't start at surface, it starts underneath. And so we're now testing at depth into this big red target area. You'll also see the Valley, Arco, Oxide, Ella, and St. Louis. Those are all old historic mines that were mined between the 1880s and 1930s. At first, we didn't understand why they all stopped mining at about 150 feet. Now that we've done the IP and we see the faults, we now understand they got out of the ore. Back in those days, they were mining ore. If they had any rock that was no longer ore, they stopped mining. So now we understand that with that fault, what that means. So our target area is this large area here, which you can see enlarged over here. So we now have a new model where we believe that the mineralization is occurring, and that's what in fact we are testing right now. This is a 3D image to allow people to understand what that IP looks like. So red is good. This is our target area. Over on the right-hand side, this is where the historic mine was. You can see how that literally shifted right out and dropped out and moved with that detachment fault. So here are the holes that were drilled in 2020. We intercepted oxide, gold, and silver. We had a little bit of sniffs of copper, but there is an opportunity still immediate at the old historic mine on the west side of the pit. But here is our true defined target. If we look at the plan view, we're now looking straight down at that as if we're 10,000 feet above. You can see that target area. You can see the detachment fault over here and where that would have slid out of. So this is currently sits at the north end, it sits about 600 feet below surface. At the south end, it's about 1,000 feet below surface. So we're now testing those. So we're averaging about 1,500 foot drill holes across the property. We're going to continue to drill. The drill company we have, the contractor we have, is doing a fantastic job. Last year, the drill company took about 21 days to drill these types of depths. The current drill company that came in through Rich Lavelle, one of our technical advisors, they're doing those drill holes in 11 days. So half the time, which is saving a significant amount of money in the program. Now I'm going to look at a little bit of the work that was done in 2020. You can see the north pit here. You can see where we drilled from the patented area across back over towards the Moran Tunnel. What you see in the different colors is the grade equivalent. So you can see up in the north end of the top end, close to surface, the oxide cap, where we still see significant gold and silver there. And as we go through, we continue to see more intervals. And so we're interested to see now what's happening at depth. Can we drill test and hit a strong mineralized altered zone? And we believe we're in a mineral corridor. We believe that we're going to continue to see meaningful numbers come in. I would expect to start to see drill results in the next week and a half to 2 weeks, which will be ongoing through the fall. So as a new introduction to you as an investor, this is a great time to be doing some review of our company, because meaningful news is on the cusp. We're right at the front end of the drill results to come. So this shows the target area and the historic numbers. You can see the work that was done here off of the pads. Again, we see good intervals, good grade, certainly mineable grade. Mining decisions right now in the United States, they're making those decisions in and around 0.6 grams per ton. We're double that grade. We're averaging 1.2 to 1.4 grams per ton. So certainly in an oxide open pit, this is very good numbers for us to pursue. At depth, we're expecting to see higher grade numbers. We're going to be into sulfides, so it'll be hard rock, a different mining method, but certainly we believe that there's an opportunity there in the information we got out of the Moran Tunnel that tells us we're going to have some super high grade areas in and around what we believe will be a core deposit area. This shows more from the 2020 program, so you can see the last chance zone. You can see as we get the depth, the gold values are increasing. In their website, you'll see a number of more robust presentations. I'm doing a short version today, but you will see in the presentation more details for those that are interested in more of the technical information. We also have a number of videos on our website. We also have a YouTube channel. We flew drone coverage last year as we were drilling, so the investors could see what we're doing firsthand. How are we spending the money? How are we making that wealth creation event occur? So we want to continue to make those types of videos and documents available to our shareholder and casual investors as they take a look at our company and deem if we're worthy of investment. So now to our 2021 program. The style of drilling we're doing is core. So that averages about between 4 and 6 inch diameter core. We're doing what's called fence drilling. So we're literally every couple hundred meters, we're stepping across that IP anomaly, that targeted area that's giving us that new information. So the white lines that you see here is what we call fence drilling in the industry. That's fence drilling. So we're coming across and we're looking to touch that ore body at depth. So the core drilling is covering a large area in terms of topography, but also at depth, we're looking to get down into what we believe will be a very strongly mineralized discovery. Here you can see some pictures. Top right is our technical team. That was in April when Rich Lavelle and Craig Bowe came out to the property and did a walkabout. I flew in. I'm based in Toronto. I flew in and we met with the governor's office in Boise, and then I came out to the property as well, walked around. Here you can see the oxide mined area from Bema. This is what I like to refer to as our report card. Again, it's about accountability. It's important for any investor to understand, what are you doing? How are you advancing things? We're not a revenue generating company. We are a company that spends our treasury and comes back to the market to advance the project. So you can see on the left-hand side, you can see the check marks. These are the things that we said we're going to do. We've now completed those. The dots are things that are still underway. So as we go forward and hopefully you start to track our company and sign up for press releases so you can see our progress. But certainly as in the days ahead, you'll see more check marks on the box. You'll see that we continue to advance our understanding at the Champagne project, and that each of these press releases will, we believe, stimulate market activity, share price appreciation, and certainly starting to see assay results come in will be certainly very exciting for us. Capital structure. So as you can see, there's our chart there. Again, management, we own about 30% of the company. Shares outstanding right now, just under 105 million shares. Our cash position right now is about 2.2 million, where we've already been spending at the property since spring. We're going to continue to spend through probably American Thanksgiving with the drill program. So we're going to continue to be bringing in more data and more spend around that. We do have the first 4 holes in the lab, so we're excited to see where this gets to. This is a chart that some may be familiar with, some may not. This is referred to as the Lassonde curve. This is the typical chart of a junior small microcap company such as ours, what their price chart and their stock chart looks like through the various phases of drilling, discovery, engineering, and study into production. So this is where you see the real wealth creation. And then as you go through the environmental studies, the economic studies, the metallurgical studies, there's a quiet period. You're not generating as much news. So everything sort of tapers off. And then as you go back into development and into production, you'll see the share price appreciate again. The good news for us as a company and for anybody who's looking at Idaho Champion as an investment, we're pre-discovery right here. We have a historic mine. We've learned a lot through that data. We bought that data from Kinross, which is a big gold company, because they had bought Bema. But we are really in the wealth creating opportunity. We're low value market cap, high value opportunity for return. So this is a chart that I recommend if you're investing in the junior mining space or exploration. This is a chart you'll want to familiarize yourself with. So in summation, we are a company that has multi-million ounce potential. Champagne project as a past producer with known metallurgy. We believe through the IP program and that discovery of that anomaly and the drill program currently underway that we will make a multi-million ounce discovery. We have a management team that's aligned with our shareholders. Again, we own 30% of the company. We understand the capital markets. We're funded through the rest of this calendar year into next year. We're in a great jurisdiction, top 10 jurisdiction in the world, with infrastructure and major investments into the state and into our company. And I look forward to turning it over for any questions. There's this slide I'll just leave here. That's my mobile number and my email. One of my partners, Nick, who's on the call as well, that's his mobile and his email. Again, it's about accountability, availability. We want our shareholders to be the most informed. What I would say is I'm an investor as well. And when I have a liquidity crisis in my life and I need to sell something, the stock I sell is the one I know least about. So my commitment to you today is Idaho Champion will never be the one you know least about, because we disseminate news regularly, but also availability through calls like this, and with the benefit of partnering with the Family Office Network and Lindsay. We wanted you to know that we're here to be accountable to how we spend your treasury. So at this point, I'll turn it over to Lindsay.
Jonathan, thank you so much for that detailed overview. Again, yes, to our attendees, jumping over to Q&A, we very much encourage any questions that you have. So again, please use your chat option, send those questions on over. And Jonathan, we do have some questions already pulled through, so I'm just gonna jump right into it. Let's talk about money first, right? So Jonathan, how much cash is in your treasury as of now?
So we have $2.2 million in treasury, and that we're spending right now. So our burn rate, when we're drilling, it's the most expensive time in our calendar year. When we're not drilling, obviously it becomes less expensive. If we're not drilling, our burn rate is about $50,000 a month. So not a lot at all. And that's everything. That's everybody in the company, including all the property payments and lease payments for the buildings that we have in Arco in Elk City. When we're drilling, it becomes more robust of a spend because obviously every meter drilled or every foot drilled costs money, and there's third-party contracts. So right now we're spending about $300,000 a month. So we're in a good position. We do have warrants in the company that will, as the stock price appreciates, we'd look to see some of those warrants come in to continue to top up the treasury. But my job is always to make sure there's money in the bank to allow us to advance the projects. So thank you.
I like that. Thank you. And Jonathan, tell us again, maybe in a little bit more detail, the ask here today. What are you guys looking to raise?
So we are currently, this the purpose of this first conversation is to introduce Idaho Champion. We would be looking at doing a traditional financing, so a private placement of common shares and potentially with warrants. We're not interested in taking on debt because we don't have revenue yet. We're a pre-production story. So it'd be a more traditional financing of a private placement. We are a public company, so they would be free trading. So there is liquidity around that. So you're not being asked to come in on a private deal where liquidity is unknown. We do have liquidity in our market. But right now, my job and opportunity through family office is to introduce the company, get the drill results out. Hopefully the investors that are on the call today want to learn more about the company, see the press releases, see the drill results, see how we've advanced that asset, and then look to potentially do a financing in between now and Christmas.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And Jonathan, how much of the company does management own at this point in time?
So we own about 30%, just under 30% of the company. Just for context, just so people understand, my average price is 12 cents. I don't believe in free stock or cheap stock. I'm in just under $1 million of my own money, so this matters to me. This is 100% of our time and attention. There's no distractions for us.
Great, thank you. And can you tell us more about other properties that you guys have or you have?
Sure. So the Banner Gold property is the discovery we made in 2018. We haven't done any work there this year because our priority became Champagne based on having the IP anomaly brought to and through the program, and that seeing that new information made that our target. We have the 4 cobalt properties. As a board, they've asked me to investigate opportunities to monetize those. So right now we have a couple of conversations happening with other companies that we can benefit through doing a transaction. In an ideal world, we'd be taking cash and shares. I'd like to participate in the upside of another public company advancing those assets. I believe cobalt is a great place to be. We're a gold company that's raised our money as a gold company, so I don't want to be diminishing our treasury on cobalt, but I also think cobalt is a theme that's going to stay strong. I think you're going to continue to see a challenge and scarcity of the battery metals. So we think that we're in a good position to take advantage of that with the cobalt properties.
Great. And Jonathan, tell us what excites you most about the Champagne project based on previous and current exploration?
Sure, that's a great question. So it's funny. So when we were at the project, we were literally standing on top of the open pit, and then we went over to one of the historic mines, the Reliance mine, and we were kicking the rocks around. And Rich Lavelle, who former head of Freeport, said, you don't see opportunities like this every day. And he goes, imagine if BEMA had to run that IP program in the 80s. He goes, they'd probably be on year 35 of mine life right now. So to have somebody of his pedigree and his background make that type of statement certainly had us all very enthusiastic. Where we think Champagne can go, we think we have the opportunity to make a world-class discovery. We have the technical people in place. We have good support. We have 14 institutions as shareholders. So we have institutions with big treasury that want to see us succeed, that are already stakeholders in the company. So for us, we think that Champagne can deliver a meaningful gold copper discovery with a big silver kicker. We think it's imminent.
Great. And Jonathan, let's talk a little bit about competition, right? So are there a lot of competitors in your industry, and what would make you excel better than them?
That's also a good question. It is a competitive landscape. If you look at the microcap junior explorer companies, publicly traded globally, so I won't just speak to North America, globally, you have about 2,300. North America, you're at about 1,100, 1,200. What I always look at, and I'm going to wear my investor hat again because I am an investor, there's a couple of things that matter to me. Number one is people. Have they been successful? Have they done it before? Can they do it again? The ability to finance is also important. The ability to get permits. A lot of companies have projects in a place that you may not be able to get a permit. Now, when we were looking for property, I was looking globally. I have a technical team that's global. So we looked at Australia, we looked at Southeast Asia, we looked at Africa, we looked at South America. And I put a funnel in place, so we kept narrowing the scope. So after they would send a project, it's okay, now I don't want to be anywhere without good mining code. The last thing I want to do is make a discovery and have somebody come in and seize the asset. I don't want any government taking control of a project. I've been an investor where they've stolen the asset. I don't want to have that happen. I then said, okay, now it needs to be an English-speaking country. I don't want to have to deal with anything lost in translation. I then said I want to be able to fly there in one plane ride or less. I don't want to be 13 hours away and the drill's turning and I'm trying to figure out what's happening in the middle of the night. And so that's the type of criteria that I put in place. And so when I look at competition, yes, there's other companies in Idaho, but I also know that Idaho is a small community and we have to look out for each other, support each other, because it is a small industry, but it's an important industry. Everything we use in our life, mining has a part of the fingerprint. And so how you are as a steward to the asset, but also to the community you operate in. So for us, as an example, out of the 23 people as a part of our program, 19 are residents or graduates of Idaho universities. That's important for us. We want to make that difference in the community. We see others that, as competitors, that they don't come with that approach. They fly in, they fly out. We want to be local with as much DNA as we can. And so I think that's an important thing that sets us apart from our competition. And it's already paying dividends. We're seeing other families that have held ground for a long time with private ground knock on our door, say, look, we saw the deal you did with the Wattops family. We want to talk about doing a deal with our ground. So we know it's the right way to be. We know it's the right way to behave. And we want to treat the community we're operating in as if it's our own backyard. And so I think that's something that certainly sets us apart from the competition.
Great, that's wonderful. Yes, I completely agree. Jonathan, last question. Do you see any roadblocks in the near future?
Well, the biggest challenge for us is things beyond our control. We can control what's happening within our property boundary. We can't control the metal price. If you told me a month ago that with everything going on globally, that gold would still be sitting at 1,800 and not through 2,000, I would have been scratching my head. But I also know that those powers that be have a lot of levers to manipulate the pricing. But when you look at the printing press that's happening globally in the currencies and also the geopolitical situations going on globally, I think gold's a great place to be. It's been a bastion of wealth protection for the millennia, and we think it's going to continue to be. And so if you're looking at how you participate as an investor into the gold space, obviously there's holding physical gold, but at the same time having exposure to the wealth creating opportunity of a company that's drilling for gold and silver. And that's what Idaho Champion offers. Our risk is the drill doesn't give us what we expect, but we're confident we will see that the drill deliver the goods for us. Our risk is more on outside our property boundary in terms of what's happening globally.
Wonderful, thank you. Jonathan, that seems to be all the questions so far. Is there anything else that you would like to add before we sign off for today?
I first thank you again to everybody who's participated in the call today. We do have videos on our website. I know Lindsay had sent around a couple of videos in advance. I recommend anybody to watch the video, see the drone flying over the property so they can get a sense of the topography of what we're dealing with. and I welcome the chance to follow on conversations with each of you individually. 416 is my cell number, my email. You can reach me anytime, send me a text. We can jump on a call. I'm Eastern Standard Time normally. I'm in Mountain Standard Time today. But this is about being available to answer any questions. And so I welcome the chance to expand on this initial conversation. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Jonathan. It was a pleasure having you join us today. And to all of our attendees, my name is Lindsay with Family Office Networks. I will be following up with everyone individually as well. So again, if there is any other questions, we would love to get you in contact with Jonathan. We hope you have a great day and thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody.